Call to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 28, 2018 Hillsborough Township Planning Board meeting. This meeting has been duly advertised according to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, Sunshine Law. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker-Reyna, Mr. Weinstein, Mr. Archie, Mr. Delcor, Vice Chair Julian. Mr. Peason,
Present.
Mr. Hestag,
Here.
Mr. Wagner,
Here.
Mr. Scobo,
Here.
Chair LaPonte.
Here. There are no disposition of minutes. There are no dispositions of resolutions. Planning Board business, first order is Hillsborough Estates Homeowner Association LLC, file 17 PB09MS, extension, time of decision through July 31st, 2018 for compliance matters.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is an application that this board heard several months ago. We have been waiting for and are still waiting for certain plans from the applicant's engineer regarding the issues as to the easements and related items. We are led to believe that before the July 12th meeting, that this will be resolved. If not, the board may have to either have a separate special meeting on the 26th, or it's going to wait until September because it won't be ready. But the request is an extension for time of decision through the end of July, and it is my office's recommendation, as well as Mr. Maskey's, that this be granted.
Thank you. So I'll motion for a time of decision extension to July 31st.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Peason, roll call, please.
Mr. Peason,
Yes.
Mr. Hestag,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Scobo,
Yes.
Chair LaPonte.
Yes. Next one is Sherman Tract, area in need of rehabilitation designation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board members saw in their packets, you received a proposed resolution from the Township Committee, which was accompanied by a rehabilitation investigation report to designate the so-called Sherman Tract as an area in need of rehabilitation. The board's task tonight is provide any comments it might have regarding the proposed designation to the Township Committee prior to the committee adopting the resolution. So with that said, I'd like to provide you with an overview of the property in question, the process that we're going through, and the findings of the investigation report. So the property, as I said, it's been referred to as the Sherman Tract, recently purchased by the township. And you have these figures in your packets attached to the investigation report. I have larger blow-ups on the wall. Figure 1 is the tax map with the study area or the Sherman Tract outlined in red. It's actually 2 parcels. It's lot 21 in block 86, the larger parcel here, which is 62 acres. And lot 601 in block 90, a 3-acre parcel up in the upper right-hand corner. Some orientation, this is Camp Plain Road across the top to the north. South 20th Avenue to the east, which is also the Manville municipal border. Roycebrook, on the south. Manville is also, that's also the Manville border. Manville wraps around. And then you have the dead ends, really paper streets on the west of Adams, Jackson, Grant, and Garfield. Sunnymead is further to the west off the map. The larger parcel does not have any frontage on Camp Plain, as you can see. These are all a string of residential uses, buildings currently existing on Camp Plain. There are a scattering of residential buildings between the 2 parcels. Figure 2 is an aerial view, and as you can see, it's completely vacant, the tract. Wetlands, floodplains, and a buffer associated, DRCC buffer associated with the brook takes up to fully 1/3 of the southern portion of the tract. You can see it faintly outlined on the tax map, this line here. Everything south of that is in a conservation zone. On the aerial, again, this is Camp Plain. and the Copart facility is just visible to the north of Camp Plain. As to the process, the area in need of rehabilitation designation is being done under the Local Redevelopment and Housing Law, the LRHL. It's important to point out, however, that a rehabilitation designation, that although a rehabilitation designation permits the township to use powers granted by the LRHL, it should not be confused with an area in need of redevelopment designation. So it's rehabilitation, not redevelopment. The redevelopment designation has a more stringent set of criteria. It could also trigger eminent domain powers. That is not the case here. This is an area in need of rehabilitation. In accordance with the LRHL, the rehabilitation designation would be followed up by the preparation of a redevelopment plan, which would govern the future development of the property. That plan would have to be adopted by the Township Committee as an ordinance, again, subject to review by the Planning Board. Now, as to the findings of the investigation report, the area has to meet at least one of 6 criteria found in the statute. The investigation report in this case found that the Sherman Tract satisfies criterion number 3, which means that there is a pattern of vacancy, abandonment, or underutilization associated with the property. This finding is based on the development history of the property, which is detailed in the investigation report. In short, there's a long history of proposals and approvals by the township for both residential and industrial development in the study area dating back over 90 years based on our research, starting with a 1,200 lot subdivision in 1926 called Park Plaza. If you can picture this entire parcel all the way up to Camp Plain at the time was subdivided into a grid street pattern, creating 30 individual blocks with over 1,200 lots on it. It's called Park Plaza. It went through various iterations over time. Some lots were sold off, basically the ones along Camp Plain. There was a 14-lot industrial park subdivision that was approved within this tract at one point. And most recently, 2005-06, a 232-unit age-restricted development was approved by the Board of Adjustment for the site. None of these developments obviously have taken place, even though all these approvals have been in place. It's in a sewer service area. And even though the areas surrounding it have experienced robust development, Manville is fairly densely populated. We've got industrial uses up here. There's residential development along Sunnymead. But this tract, both parcels, have remained vacant. That's a brief overview of the tract itself, the process, and the findings. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So, obviously, it's zoned light industrial.
It's currently zoned industrial, correct?
It's zoned industrial, and, in that meeting we had another week, we're starting to do overlays and come up with a new plan for the review of the master plan.
The re-examination.
The re-examination plan.
Yes.
This is the type of site that we would probably want to look at and think if the zoning is proper for what we want to do with this in the long term?
No.
Doesn't matter? Okay.
Well, the redevelopment plan will lay out a new development program for the site.
Okay.
It would be residential,
It would be residential.
yes.
That was
Because
my question.
This was purchased with the Affordable Housing Trust Funds, so it would be used for affordable housing.
Okay. That was where I was kind of going, staying
Yeah.
industrial. Okay.
Mhm.
My second question is, obviously, where, with the houses all on Camp Plain Road there, we would have to bring and you can't come in from the side of Roycebrook. I don't think you would have to use the entrance off of.
It would have to be, yes, and all of these, there's stub roads, there's about 4 of them on the map here. They all dead end at the track. Like I said, there's really no actual Camp Plain Road frontage, but there are 3 or 4 real, they're streets on the map. They're, yes, and then to the left, you have those, again, you can see it better on the
There
aerial
are
map.
streets, those are.
Yeah,
no-
they're paper streets at this end, so access would likely be from Camp Plain on an existing street and then out perhaps to Sunnymead, again, on an existing street. Possibly 20th, yes.
Through
You
Manville.
can access it that way too, so.
We
The
would-
redevelopment plan will lay out all those requirements.
Okay.
So if again, the task of the board tonight is, if you have any objections to the designation, or if you have any comments or anything you'd like to add, I would forward those on to the Township Committee for their consideration on the July 12th meeting.
Anyone?
10th, okay,
10? Anyone?
the next meeting, after next
No, I
week.
think it's a good idea to
Okay.
prepare for future plans.
Okay. So do we need to make a motion or anything just to present it? Okay. So a motion to present this back to the Township Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
And roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Hestag?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Scobah?
Yes.
Chair LaHosse?
Yes.
You're right.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
More to come in the future. Yes. Special committee reports, none. No business from the floor, not on tonight's agenda. Seeing none. Consideration of ordinances, none. Takes us to our first public hearing. New Jersey American Water, File 18 PB05 SP, Block 200.06, Lot 25, FKA, Block 200.06, Lot 2.02, formerly Block 200.06, Lot 2-15, 120 Raider Boulevard. Applicant is seeking minor site plan approval to install a metal canopy open-air enclosure over 4 existing concrete masonry unit CMU storage bins on property in the GA zoning district located within the architectural and site design overlay zone, EC review of 6/25 of 18. Counselor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Frank Tedesco, the firm of Dilworth Paxson, here on behalf of New Jersey American Water. As the chairman has pointed out, this property is New Jersey American Water property that was acquired by the former Eaton.
Elizabethtown Water.
Elizabethtown. We have different ones we acquire, and I always get them mixed up. I apologize. The property is
You
approximately...
could just bring the microphone as close as you can. Perfect.
That close?
Perfect. Thank
And
you.
all of the witnesses will have to do the same?
Exactly.
It's not so much for the board, it is for the television.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Disco.
This property is block 200.06, lot 25. It's approximately 15 acres of land. Its current use is basically a multi-use project for New Jersey American Water. There's general office space there, there's warehousing of material, there's equipment storage, and there's vehicle storage. Tonight, we're here for one specific piece of business, and that is in connection with the rehabilitation of the water systems. The New Jersey American Water needs storage bins. There have been storage bins there. There are 4 storage bins that are basically cinder blocked with some walls. And if
You have
I think we had
an
a
exhibit to
picture.
put up? Okay.
Yeah.
Guess we'll mark that A1.
No, I think the picture first. The photograph. The photograph. No.
Wrong one.
Just so we're identifying the building. My apologies.
And you can just identify what that exhibit is, if you please.
Obviously, the photo on the bottom of that board is the existing facility that has been there since, I believe, 1999. Okay. The top photograph is the architect's rendering of what it will look like if the board approves the installation of 3 sides and the roof to keep the materials that they store in there fresh and available to use. We have a operations manager who works with this particular building, and we'll have him as one of our first experts. We have the civil engineer and also the architect. With that, I'd like to have the individual sworn and start our testimony.
Sure. Come on up. I just do whoever's first.
We're going to do them one at a time.
One at a time. Whoever's coming first.
John Hoffman.
John Hoffman. Just state your name, spell your last, Mr. Hoffman.
John Hoffman, Field Operations Supervisor, BELLE, MEAD, New Jersey
Okay.
American Water.
You can have a seat. We got to swear you in first, though. Just keep the microphone close to your mouth if you could.
Swear testimony to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Mr. Hoffman, how long have you been employed by New Jersey American Water?
Since 1999.
And
Wait, you just test that microphone.
Is this
Put it real-
testing?
Yeah, you keep it, just tap the top and see if, all right, so put it real close to your mouth. Thank you. Just be a rock star.
And can you, and are you familiar with and supervise this installation for the storage of the stone, and are familiar with the movements that are made to explain to the board how this particular works on any given day?
Yeah, this is basically the storage for the clean and dirty road stone, which is used during main breaks or valve replacements. If it's wet and frozen, it makes it difficult to work with the material. This is just something to circumvent some of the moisture that can get onto it and freeze.
And what we have before the board, you're not in any way expanding the storage bins?
No, sir.
You're just covering it with a roof and 2 sides?
Correct.
Okay. And there won't be any more or less traffic going into that
No,
business after this than before?
No, it doesn't affect that at all.
Okay. And other than that, we just wanted to answer the engineer's question about how they operate.
I have one question from Mr. Hoffman. Obviously, it's a 3-sided structure, so it's not completely weatherproof. Do you feel that that's enough insulation to prevent water and snow and stuff from, is it against the prevailing winds and rain that it's going to work, or?
It's basically what most facilities have. It does the best job it can, besides what it is right now, which is wide open to the weather. Snow can lay on it. If it's raining, obviously it's not freezing, so it can run off. But if the snow lays on top of it, it's basically snow and the ice that are the biggest culprits in the trenches sinking when we use it. So if it's dry when we're using it, it's much better.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. I don't see any public, but we need to make a motion to public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, is there any questions for Mr. Hoffman from the public? Okay, seeing none. Next witness.
Our next witness is Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Mr. Robert Kaiser.
Okay.
This evidently has to be held close to your mouth.
Please stand so we can swear you in.
You swear in testimony to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Can you state and spell your name?
Robert Kaiser, K-I-S-E-R.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Mr. Kaiser, would you state your qualifications? You are a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, excuse me, licensed professional engineer. I'm sorry.
Well, I'd like to see how he can prove he's an architect, too.
Yes, I'm a licensed professional engineer, graduated from Lafayette College, and previously worked as a full-time municipal engineer in Princeton for 33 years prior to retiring, and now I've been, past couple of years, helping out Steyer's Associates, the consultant that was hired by New Jersey American to design this facility.
And you've testified as a professional engineer before different planning and/or zoning boards.
Yes, multiple times.
Thank you. We'll accept your qualifications.
Would you take the board through first, the basic surroundings, review the site plan so that they understand how this project actually works?
Sure. Thank you, Counselor. If I can go on over and put the site plan up on the wall, perhaps that'll be helpful.
We'll mark that A2, please.
This is the site plan that I believe the planning board members have, as well as the township professionals. The site, as was indicated earlier, is approximately 15 acres. This direction in this way is north. Here is Raider Boulevard. 206 is down in this location, and then Stryker Lane is to the east. And with this particular site, as was indicated earlier, the request is to install these storage covering over the existing storage bins that are in this location right here. And those are concrete masonry units. There's 4 bins in that location. They're currently utilized, as was testified to earlier, to store materials, but there's no covering. This particular site will not change other than just simply installing the 3-sided enclosure to prevent weather, snow, and ice from getting onto those materials. The distances involved here, we have 217 feet from the northern property line to the structure. On the western side, it's a distance of 130 feet to the property line. On the eastern side, it's approximately 445 feet. And then from where the units are located out to Raider Boulevard, it's approximately 740 feet. The area has a significant buffer around it. I'd like to show another board, if I could, regarding what the area looks like.
A3, yes, sir.
So this aerial view is oriented in the same direction. Again, this is north. The proposed canopy is in this particular area right here. We have a truck port that is located nearby, and there was a question that Mr. White had regarding the existing buffering around the facility. And as you can see, there's significant buffering to the west, as well as to the east, as well as to the north.
And with respect to the facility, the site plan, there's no additional lighting going to be installed, correct?
There's existing lighting on site, and there's no need for any additional lighting. Yes, that's correct.
We attended the Environmental Commission meeting on Monday. Could you advise the planning board, and I know they have the letter, but put it on record, what the Environmental Commission suggested that we do, and advise and how that is going to be accomplished when you revise the plans?
One of the items that the Environmental Commission, or the primary item the Environmental Commission commented on was with this particular enclosure as shown, there'll be downspouts at the rear of the structure on either end. So the gutter high point is in the middle, water flows to the east and then flows to the west. And the Environmental Commission said that they would like to see the downspouts a discharge onto the grass area. Behind this structure is approximately a 5-foot area between the structure and the paved area behind, which is used as a storage yard. And what they would like to see is the downspouts to come down and then the water directed on the eastern side to go to the east, on the western side go to the west. And the water company has indicated they would certainly be willing to do that.
And ultimately, where does that water go?
The water to the east will run in the grass area here and then ultimately get into the catch basin system, which then conveys the water to the stormwater detention facility, which is located just to the east. On the western side, it will go to the grass area here and then flow around to the north and eventually to the stream located to the north.
And those were the direct suggestions by what I believe he must have been an engineer on the Environmental Commission.
The suggestion was to provide whatever water quality treatment could be provided by getting the water into and onto the grass areas prior to being conveyed to its ultimate destination, either to the stream below or to the catch basin and into the stormwater detention basin.
What are the status of the outside agency approvals that we talked, that you advised the Environmental Board?
As Mr. White had indicated, there's additional agency approvals required. With regard to Somerset County Planning Board, that approval was received in May. With the Soil Conservation District has been approved, has been forwarded, and a non-applicability determination was made by the SCD. Regarding the Delaware and Raritan Canal Commission, a jurisdiction application was sent to them earlier this week. And the last item is Hillsborough Township Fire Official. And my understanding is that the water company is certainly willing to work with the fire official to respond to any of his needs.
And I think that's all we have.
Anything, Mr. Maskey, you're good? I think you're okay? I thought so. Okay. Any questions from any board? Any questions from the public? Seeing none? Okay.
One
Next.
more.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Let me swap the microphone over to your next witness.
Swear testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Could you state and spell your name?
Daniel Jost, J-O-S-T.
Mr. Jost, you're a licensed architect. I got it this time, Mr. Chairman.
That's me. Yes, I
How long
am.
have you been so licensed in the state of New Jersey?
I've been licensed since 2006, and I've been before many different planning boards and zoning boards throughout the state.
Testifying for applications for development.
Similar to this, yes.
We'll accept your qualifications,
And,
Mr. Jost.
with respect to the, I guess that's A2, that's your design, obviously, of the
Correct.
truck port.
A1.
A1.
The picture is A1.
Can we get an understanding from the witness as to when the photograph was taken for purposes of the record?
The photograph was taken, I believe that was in the fall of last year, 2017.
Thank you.
And one of the issues raised was how does that design comply with the section of the ordinance 188-1113?
Essentially, they're looking for uniformity within the campus, and this metal structure has the same colors as the adjacent buildings. The coping we're using is going to be the same color, and the metal siding is also going to match. So everything's going to have a uniform look throughout the campus.
We have one other, work to A4, is it?
Yes, A4 is next.
This is a photograph of the other buildings on the site.
Okay. And when was that photograph taken? Any idea?
I did not take that photograph, so I
Well, I believe,
think Mr. Kaiser took it.
Kaiser, when was that
He
photograph?
needs the microphone.
I believe this photograph was taken within the past 2 years. We actually picked it up off of Google Earth Street View.
Okay. Thank you.
And as you can see from the photograph and the artistic rendering, that we're using all the same colors, and everything should blend together nicely on the site.
Can you point out on that where the bins are with respect to that photograph?
Sure. This is the building closest to Raider Boulevard. Then this is the truck port. Actually, this is all part of that building closest to Raider Boulevard. The truck port is back here, and the bins are going to be back even further back. I think you can kind of see the bins all the way over to the side over there. And from the street, you can't really see them at all, or from anywhere else.
So that picture is from inside the parking lot? Excuse me?
Yes, it is.
It's not a street view, okay.
And you could see the, if you could see the colors, the colors are basically the same. We're using the same types of colors. We're either going to have prefab metal panels that have that color baked in, or we'll paint it.
You were saying something else?
No?
Okay. Sorry. Any other questions? I only bring this up because I have a landscape yard, and I go through the same problems with my dry material as what you're trying to prevent. And though that structure, is nice, and if you're optimally trying to keep that material dry, did you consider some sort of roll-up tarp that would cover that one side that you could roll up to keep those bins drier? And then when you load and unload, and when you're not using it, that would drop. That is a very nice looking structure, and it will work to some, but it's not going to, in my opinion, and this is just take it from someone who's in the industry, going to keep everything as dry as I think that you're looking to do with the expenditure you're going through. And now is the time to consider that since you're here, so.
Sure, and I think John's probably better to speak to that than I am. But I think you are correct. If we had some type of temporary roll down, even vinyl curtains of some sort to put in front, because that was our concern. You're still going to get wind-driven rain in there, but I think it does take care of the biggest concern, which is snow laying on top of the stones, and then you have clumps, big clumps of rock, which you put in the hole and you can't tamp it down correctly, and then you have settling. So that's really the major,
That's your main
major
concern.
issue.
Okay. So, any other comments, questions? David?
Nothing?
Mr. White? Okay. All right. Any questions from the public? Seeing none? Okay.
Having just spoken with the individual in charge of this, they are amenable to taking a look to see what they can put there that will work for them. They believe that this will be a huge improvement and will satisfy their needs. I don't know who the board is. obviously the board can make something as a condition, but right now, they're not really, they do not want to put doors
Okay.
on the.
Because if you decided you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to come back, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to put that out there. All right. Thank you. Anything else for this witness? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jost. And that,
We are finished.
we are finished. Whoops. Boom, drop the mic. So I'm at it.
More importantly, maybe turn the stenographer into hearing impaired.
Yes. All right, so we have a motion for file 18 PBO 5SP to put up a three-side structure as per the requirements of Mr. White and Mr. Maskey, as stated earlier in the testimony.
As well as the possibility, Mr. Chairman, as a condition that the applicant will at least consider placing additional curtain-type material in what is ostensibly the front of this structure to assist in the reduction of precipitation upon the material.
Correct. Okay. We have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Sco. Second?
Second.
All right, thank you. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Beasley?
Yes.
Mr. Tech?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Strobo?
Yes.
Chair LaPointe?
Yes. Thank you very much, Counselor.
Thank you.
We have no correspondence to share. Our next meeting is still scheduled for July 5th.
We have no agenda, so if you'd like to cancel it.
I will take a motion to cancel July 5th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. We have a
I'll
second?
second it.
And second.
Next meeting, July 12th.
We need to get, all in favor? Say aye. Okay. July 5th is now canceled. And July 12th, we have a docket from the people who wanted to extension, right?
You've got a couple of extensions and possibly one or more resolutions. I've indicated to Mr. Maskey that there is an outside shot of July 26th, depending on resolution-related issues. If there is going to be a problem, you have, as you know, Mr. Chairman, tonight a bare quorum. If we're going to have the same issue, we need to know if people are not going to be around, or we know people are not going to be around, we obviously need to advise.
Early. I don't think is there anybody that here knows they're not going to be here for July 12th? Obviously, things change, but at least there's no immediate plans.
I won't.
You won't be here?
No.
Are you going to be out in Arkansas again?
No, California.
California, okay.
Arkansas, we're done with Arkansas for the
You're done with Arkansas for a while? All right, so for now on, we have our first meeting, next meeting, July 12th. And if those who can't attend, please let us know as soon as possible. All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Make that motion. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
8:08.
8:08.